Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Facebook Live today. This is my very first one here, apart from that interview that I did with Gaetano not too long ago. So I'm just going to give it a few minutes or so as people are going to jump on and join in. So if you're joining in, if you've joined in already live, then do give me a little thumbs up. So give me a little thumbs up on the window on the side so I know that you are receiving me okay, and you can hear me and see me okay. Although this one is a little bit of a funny window because I can't see the comments box on the side. So hopefully I'm going to see that at some point. Otherwise, I'm just going to get started. My name is Ayaloo. I'm a friend of Gaetano's that we've known each other for quite some years now, probably more over a decade now. And we met in the realms of transformation in one of the transformational organizations that I trained in, and we trained in some years ago. And we became friends, and recently become in touch again and got in touch again. And he's invited me to come and speak here on Bridges of Light. So here I am. And just a little introduction about me, and just make sure this thing doesn't get tangled. Introduction about me, if it's relevant to you guys, is I am, on the face of it, a yoga teacher. So I've trained as a yoga teacher, and I train yoga teachers. I live here in London, but I do travel around, mostly around the UK and Europe, but also around the world to teach. And while on the package, it's a yoga teacher that I am. I also specialize I've trained in various modalities of transformation, and I bring that transformational dialogue into our work that we do in all our programs, and certainly in our teacher training programs. And recently I've launched a transformation program called Awaken, a 3-day program where people can come and learn about themselves, the workings of the mind, and also about themselves, about life, and be able to take that and use that in their lives and live a more empowered life. So that's a little bit of background on me. I've also trained as a theta healer and a theta healing teacher, which has done that last year when I went to Montana and trained with Vina, the woman who channeled theta healing. So I know there's some theta healers here on the group. I know there's lots of you from the previous interview that I did with Gaetano that I know some of you are interested in yoga. So while I have a topic here, a topic on the top, relevant to the mind, perhaps you could say, resistance. Hey, Gaetano. So if you can see me and hear me, if you're just the first to join in, welcome. If you want to just give me a little thumbs up in the window on the side, just so I know you are receiving me okay. It's a bit of a strange window on the side. I can't see my little comment box, so I don't know whether I can read your comments or see your comments and comment back. Let me see if I can click on some things and anything works. No. No, doesn't seem like it. So if you can put in a little comment in the box on the side, please do so. Give me a little thumbs up if you can hear me and see me okay, just so I know you're receiving me all right, so that we can get started. So the topic I chose today was on resistance and trust, which can help or hinder your transformation or your spiritual journey. And this is just a suggestion. So if you have any questions or you want me to talk about anything other than that, I think I'm going to be here almost like on a weekly basis. I'm definitely here next week on the Wednesday, I think, at the same time. So we will have more opportunity to talk and connect and learn together. But if you're good with this topic, then we can go with it. I can't see a chat window on the side, so I'm not sure if anyone's actually asking any questions or commenting on anything. But let me see if I can actually do something about that. 1 second. Settings, interactive. No, probably not. Seems like it. So if you do see a little comment box on the side for yourself, then do give me a little comment or a thumbs up, just so I know that it is interactive. Otherwise, I guess it's going to be a one-way conversation. which I hope you're okay with. And let's see what comes out. So the way I like to work, and whenever I'm invited to share or speak on anything, generally, my take is I just show up and allow myself to be guided, and speak and share what comes, that day or in the moment. So this is what came to me, and today, if you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, you would have seen I posted something on resistance. And resistance is one of those curious things which it can seem kind of almost the opposite of trust, and how we resist our own journey. And this is something I've been thinking about quite a lot recently, just because I have the opportunity, the pleasure of meeting lots of people as they come to the programs that I facilitate. And I find that if there was one thing that's really hindering people from progressing and growing within themselves and in their journey, it's this topic of resistance, and how we actually put up the resistance to our own growth. And this can apply in a course room, in a program. Certainly I see it, especially with someone who's new to the deeper work. But it can happen in any area of our lives. So the resistance can be the opposite of actually opening, of letting go, of receiving, of welcoming in what life has in store for you. And what the reason we resist is because on some level we are our part of the brain, part of the nervous system is actually tuned in for protection and wanting to preserve ourselves, and it's really that part of the brain or the nervous system that's tuned in for survival, even when it doesn't need to be in operation. So as in, we already are safe, but that's just this belief perhaps that we're not safe, or it's a new environment, so because it's not known, it's the unknown. It can challenge that part of the mind, the brain, and for it to kick in and want to go into survival mode. So that normally shows up on the outside as some kind of resistance. And we tend to resist all sorts of things in our lives, from receiving love, from giving and receiving forgiveness, perhaps, and these kinds of things, where it has quite a profound impact, and quite fundamental, profound impact on us as a human being. Excuse me, on us as a human being. And the resistance is there because we, on some level, we're trying to protect ourselves, and take care of ourselves, and maybe it's a question of safety. But actually, these days there's not many things that can really harm us. We're not really normally in danger, but still, when we're in these situations, which is not known to us, there's a part of us that can actually kick in and start to want to take over and protect ourselves. So, when that shows up, the intention is good. It's a very, on some level, helpful intention. But actually what it does is that it blocks out pain or suffering or sadness or anger or frustration or any of those kinds of emotions. It can block out those difficult to be with emotions. But because the protection mechanism is kind of like a wall, it blocks out the stuff that we want as well. So we might be saying we want love, but actually that wall can also, the wall of resistance that I'm referring to, can also block out love as well. So there's a little bit of insight on the resistance that we put up. And today I was talking to some of my groups about trusting and resistance as well, and trusting the process. And they were asking me questions around, why is it so difficult for me to trust, to let go, to follow through? It's because the body, the brain, the nervous system is actually being trained, just like we would train an animal, a horse or a puppy, to be a certain way, we've actually trained this animal in our body to behave in a certain way. I was talking to another group today about meditation, and they're asking, why is it so difficult to sit down and be still in meditation? Again, it's because it's the same answer. It's like, we've trained ourselves, consciously or subconsciously. Hi, Sylvia. Consciously or subconsciously. Thank you for the comments. I can now see that there is a comment box somewhere that's elusive, and you've managed to find it, Sylvia, but I'm still looking. Hi, Bianca. Good, great to have you guys join in. It seems like either I'm too early or you guys are on time or whatever it is, but I'm just happy and glad that you guys are joining in. Thank you for the hellos. Good. I'm guessing you can receive me okay on your side. So I was just talking about this topic of resistance and trust. Where was I? And I was talking about meditation today to one of my groups, and they were saying, why is it so difficult? Because I feel this resistance to actually sit and stay still in the meditation. What do I do? So for me, the way I teach meditation a lot of times is actually really, I keep it very simple. Same with the yoga that I teach, same with the meditation, and most things that I teach, I believe in actually having it simple and accessible rather than it be really complex principle or a teaching. I'm really interested in making things accessible. So I try and break it down and keep it simple, mostly because I like things simple. I like to learn things in a simple way. Hi, Ina. Welcome. So I like to learn it in a simple way, and I like to teach it in a way that is simple, accessible as well. So with the meditation, with the thank you for the thumbs ups. I'm guessing you're receiving me okay. So with the meditations, when we sit to meditate, a lot of times what normally happens is that the first time you sit to meditate, it's difficult. People think sometimes there's this belief that meditation is, you sit down and close your eyes and you get high, and have all these euphoric feelings. Yeah, maybe at some point. And even when that happens, a lot of times the mind starts to chase that. And, when you chase something, what happens? It just tends to run away. So when we sit in meditation, a lot of times it's not the easiest thing, but it sure as hell really worthwhile. And, over the long term, it can really help you. So it's, sitting and training the mind, training the body to sit with whatever discomfort comes up, in the moment. And in that sense, the resistance that may show up in the moment. And that's not so much, sometimes people say, that's just how I am. And I don't believe that's true, because, this thing, our brain, our body, really anything about us can be completely rebuilt, reshaped, because on a cellular level, even, down to an atomic and an energetic level, we can create change on all levels. So this thing is completely negotiable. Our mind is completely negotiable. We can completely rebuild and reshape ourselves, if we wanted to. And, I'm sure you've come across people who've done that, either in one area or many areas in their lives. So meditation is about, sitting and being with that discomfort, and actually really training the mind, training the body to sit with the discomfort. So what you're learning, and one of the things you might learn there is, to really sit with pressure, and pressure situations. So then when you step out of the meditation and go back into your life, life can throw pretty much anything at you, and, you can sit in that pressure. And better still, as you practice the meditation, and to me, yoga practice is just a moving meditation. When life throws challenges at you, you can take those challenges and use that to strengthen you instead, to kind of turn it around and use it to empower you instead. So what happens is that, when you practice these practices and observations, so meditation, the yoga practice, and there's many forms of practices out there which are really powerful and empowering. A lot of times the journey is, eventually you can start to completely recreate yourself and turn around what seem to be your challenges, or better still, your biggest challenges. So imagine if you could take your biggest challenges and turn them around so that rather than them disempower you and pull you down. Your biggest challenges, you start to get excited about, them coming to you, because you know that on some level you're going to learn and grow from that. So even your biggest challenges become your biggest gifts. And these are some of the benefits of things like the yoga practice. And to bring it back to the topic of resistance, initially that sitting and being with the resistance that shows up in the body, that shows up in the nervous system, which really is part of the protection mechanism, like this inbuilt protection mechanism that wants to protect us, because it's tuned in for survival, even when we're actually okay and, we're not in danger. That part of the brain, the nervous system, starts to kick in, because it thinks, oh, I don't know this. This is the unknown. So I need to actually be aware. Or it's looking in the unknown for what is known. So when it finds more of the known, it says, okay, I know this. And, we better watch out. So a lot of times what we do is that we tend to, we as in the mind tends to look for the worst case scenario in any situation. And it says, oh, if I can prepare you for the worst case scenario, then maybe you would be safe and maybe you would survive. So thus the survival or the protection mechanism that's inbuilt in us, which really is a very old part of us, this kind of reptilian fight or flight part of the nervous system that is tuned in for survival and preservation, like self-preservation. And the self-preservation, really, it does what it says, on the can. It really preserves, so that as it preserves you, you're not growing. Do you know what I mean? As in, if you stay within the realms of the resistance and the walls of the resistance, it might feel safe in there, but within the illusion of safety, because that's an illusion. So is control, right? It's this illusion of control and safety. That's why we don't grow. We stop growing. So these are steps and perhaps obstacles and hurdles that we may meet or be met with on our journey, on our spiritual journey. I'll bring it back to that, since I know most of you are here, and you're healers, you're body workers, you're yoga teachers, you're amazing souls of all kinds. That's the name of the group, which is Bridges of Light, which Gaitan has obviously created. So I'm guessing you are on some kind of a quest, some kind of a journey, because really, when are we ever done? Aren't we all just a work in progress? So this is all, these are some of the obstacles and hurdles that we can be met with during our journey, our spiritual journey, when we're learning and trying to grow. Excuse me, I'm just going to move this thing a little closer so that you can see me, because I think otherwise the light's not so good. So, ask me any questions. I'm kind of talking at you guys, but I have the tendency just to kind of talk and talk. A lot of times if I'm in front of a group, which this kind of is, in front of a group, I tend to just talk. If you find me one-to-one, then generally I'm quiet and I'll listen and ask. I'll probably ask more questions and talk less. But this kind of medium also makes it so that I am just talking almost at you. Well, I am not almost, I am talking at you. So feel free to jump in and ask any questions about resistance. Just talk about resistance. Let me talk about trust, but feel free to pop in any questions, comments, any challenges around this topic, meditation, yoga, your own, deeper internal journey or transformational journey. These are all areas that I can hopefully help you with as we go through this session. So I've talked about resistance, and the other side of it can seem like trust. And in the yoga practice, I always say, whether you are newer to the practice or whether you're more advanced, and a lot of times, I would teach teachers or very well-known teachers, senior, teachers and practitioners that come to my courses, as well as obviously, newer teachers as well. And a lot of times it's, learning to let go. Right? People want to learn the advanced posture. They want to learn how to stand on their hands. They want to learn how to drop back into wheel, and they want to be able to do, back bends on their arms and things like that. What looks kind of, I don't know, interesting maybe in some way, or pretty, maybe aesthetically pleasing. which, I'm less interested in about the aesthetics. I'm more interested in about what's actually going on inside. But I do also, of course, like fancy postures. It's fun to play with. And the advanced posture, in my opinion, as a yoga teacher, is that for most, if not all of us, is to really let go. That's the advanced posture. So the thing that we are seeking really comes from going back to the basics. Oh, I've just noticed a question here. Bianca, so you're saying meditation is not being scared of remaining out of control. Yes, absolutely. Meditation actually ties into the next thing I'm going to be talking about trust and letting go. Meditation is about really trusting, as you go into the unknown, trusting the process, the meditation process that you're in, this growth journey, this process that you're in when you sit to meditate, to, see the fears. So you're talking about being scared, seeing that as it comes up, maybe it shows up in your body, maybe it shows up emotionally, and not running away, right? Because there's a part of you that just knows you're okay. And this is good. You're about to grow and learn something. So because of that, you wouldn't run away. I don't know what other people teach, but this is what I teach, in the meditations, in the yoga practice, and same in the yoga practice, actually, what you're talking about, letting go of control. So, sometimes I'll see people in the yoga posture that are really trying to control the posture, and actually they can't go past a certain point because that's, like maybe they're using their muscle power to get to a certain point, and that's as far as they can go. Past that point, they're going to keep hitting a plateau or a wall, and that's all they can do, right? Hi, Alessandra. Right. So what you're asking here, Bianca, about not being scared and letting go, you're saying remaining out of control. It's actually letting go of control, because what is control really? Control is an illusion, right? It's an illusion of the mind. It's a part of our brain that says this thing called life that is, so vast, and I can't wrap myself, this mind can't wrap itself around it. So it tries to kind of control. So it's just this illusion that it can control at least some part of it, right? So rather than trying to wrap itself around the whole thing called life, it tries its best. Why? Because it's trying to, when it has control, it can predict. When it can predict, maybe it can predict and try and keep you safe so that you survive. So the intention is good, but the result actually, doesn't really serve us immediately and or long term as well. So control is an illusion, and our work is to see where we are trying to control or already controlling, and keep coming back to letting go of control, because it's not the truth of who we are. And as a matter of fact, when you let go of control, and tying back to the other topic that I have, which is trust, when you let go of control and trust, and you can really trust yourself, you can trust life, or universe, or source, or God, or love, whatever word works for you, the quantum field, whatever word works for you. When we can really come to that place where you can completely let go and trust life, and for me, for example, I just have a belief system, and I have various belief systems. One of it is that I am always okay. I'm always guided. I'm always taken care of by the universe, or by God, if that word works better for you. By source, universe, God, life, love. That energy. I'm always protected. I'm always taken care of. I'm always guided. So my mind doesn't need to do anything. It just needs to actually get out of the way and let go. Excuse me. So I hope that helps with your question, Bianca, with the meditation is not being scared and remaining out of control. And then you're saying, yes, the more I try to control, the more I feel scared. Yeah, absolutely. Because the control is an illusion. It's not real. And it can only, if it manages to control anything, it can only control a really small part, of that thing that you're in. So maybe in your meditation, you can only control a really small part. So there's a part of you that might be scared because it's thinking, well, what about the rest of this experience? How can I control this? And if I can't control it, then what could happen? And that, I would say, is the unknown, right? So the realms of the unknown, beyond what the mind knows, is the unknown. And that is a magical place. The unknown is a place, obviously, as it says in the name, is not known, is new to us. So that's the place where we really do our learning and our growing. That's really where life's magic is, and that's where it's unpredictable. So it's scary for the mind, right? It's scary for the mind because it can't predict it, it can't control it. So, and you might get it in all sorts of instances. And for you, for example, it's really powerful that you're seeing it in your meditations where you can sit in meditation and fear comes up. Thanks, Gaetano. Great to be here. Right? So you can feel the resistance, and on some level, that your mind's saying, "Get out of this, run away." And then there's another part of you. There's a bigger part of you, a bigger mind, a bigger energy than just your mind and your body that says, "You're okay, right? Stay with it." Like train your mind, train your body to sit and be with this and be in this unknown, because inherently there's a part of you that just knows that this unknown, even though it's not known to you, it's unpredictable, right? That's why it's called the unknown. That's where the magic is. So by you training yourself to keep coming into the unknown, and there's many different avenues for you to do this with, right? It's not just meditation, it's not just yoga. There's many different ways. There's many amazing practices. So what works for you, right? What do you like to do? And sometimes you may not even like it. It's like meditation. Most people may not like meditation because they think, oh well, I'm just going to sit down and close my eyes and get high. But actually, when you sit down, the first thing that comes up is all the things that you've been pushing down your whole lifetime starts to come up and starts to get uncomfortable. And when you can train yourself to sit through that discomfort, all those layers that you've been pushing down, as it comes out, eventually you'll be able to reach new depths within yourself. And that's where the journey begins. You really start to come in touch with a part of you that maybe you didn't know, and that's where the unknown is, right? The unknown is us really discovering ourselves on a much deeper level, on a much more intimate level. And the more you can train yourself to become friends with the unknown, to be able to sit with the unknown, and this is where the trust comes, the releasing, the letting go of any resistance, and practicing trusting, in other words, letting go and just trusting. See what happens, see where it takes you, this unknown. And as you go and delve more and more into the unknown, this is where we grow, right? And in nature, what happens when something stops growing? What happens, right? A tree stops growing, it dies, right? But as human beings, there are a lot of human beings who've stopped growing a long time ago, and a lot of them, will continue to stay that way right down to the time they get to their graves. That's an unfortunate thing, but it's also the truth. Why? Because there's this fear of the unknown. There's this fear of stepping into something that you can't predict, that you can't control. So if you can't control it, means it's scary, and no, I'm not going there. That's the resistance that we put up. And if we put up resistance, we block our own magic, we block our own journey, we block whatever it is that we're blocking. Maybe it's love. Gaetano is saying, Dylan in Italy, yes, I would love to come to Italy. And I'd love to actually come and do some yoga classes, a yoga retreat. There's all sorts of emotions coming up, smileys, angry faces. This is cool. I'm going to the unknown with you guys here. And Gaetano is saying, are you going to give us yoga lessons too? Yes, well, I know you are very keen, Gaetano, on yoga, and perhaps it will have to wait until the next time, just because I wasn't really prepared to teach yoga this time on the screen. Yeah, so life is a book of lessons. Yes, it absolutely is. What is it that you want me to say, Gaetano? Tell me. Keep saying what? What about Italy? Yeah, I would love to come to Italy. Who'd like to come and join me in Italy? Me and Gaetano, and whoever else can teach some amazing things. We'd like to put something together for you guys. Katya, thank you for the welcome. I feel very received, very warmly received here in this group. So thank you for your warm welcomes. Um, okay. Yeah, so ask me some questions about this, whether it's yoga, meditation. Um, I mean, I've trained as a healer as well and a healing teacher. So, uh, is there anything about this topic of resistance and trust, about letting go, about control? Anything else that you want to ask me? What are some of the challenges you're met with? Let's say yoga practice, in terms of this resistance and trust, or maybe in your meditation. Bianca, you're saying, please talk, please talk about yoga. I'm not really skilled in it. I would like to know the real aim of yoga apart from this great position. What is the aim and essence of yoga? Great question. I love that question. What is the aim and essence of yoga? Well, yoga is one of those things that we think is limited to the physical postures, and in the Western world, mostly, we believe, in the East as well. It's not just the West. People believe that yoga is just about postures. And when you start to delve into the teachings of yoga, you'll find that the teachings of yoga and the body of work that is yoga is far more outreaching than the actual postures itself. It has many limbs to what is yoga, and the yoga philosophy, the breath work, the energetics behind it, the anatomy. There's so much to yoga, but yoga is really um, it's a journey. Well, let me start again. The word yoga means union, or to yoke, right? To bring together. Um, so the practices of yoga, and in some of the spiritual texts in yoga, there's a thing called the 8 limbs of yoga by this guy called Patanjali, many generations ago. And he kind of compacts the teachings of yoga into these 8 limbs, just like branches of a tree. And he talks about the posture work is just one part of it, right? There's certain mental and kind of spiritual practices. There's breath work. There's the movements of postures, as you guys were saying, and then it becomes more and more meditative. And the goal, if there was a goal to yoga at all, is to reach enlightenment. It's to reach samadhi, and enlightenment. Perhaps there's many ways for us to experience enlightenment. Another way of saying enlightenment, in my experience or my opinion, perhaps, from what I know, and of course I'm still learning, is our connection to source, or to the creator energy if you do theta healing, or to God, or to life, or to the energy of unconditional love, the energy that creates all things, the energy of creation itself. So to know ourselves, and the message of yoga is that at some point in this human existence, in this lifetime, and actually I think it happens every lifetime, we at some point, when we come from this energetic place into this physical realm, we have a mind, we have a body, and at some point we tend to lose our way a little bit and forget the truth of who we are and the nature of who we are. So, which is of the essence, right, of the energy that creates all things. So tell me if it's too much, if I'm throwing too many things at you guys and it's too heavy, or if you have any questions. So the message of yoga to me is, using this different paths of yoga, these different limbs, like branches of yoga, to access and to reach a state of enlightenment. And to me, enlightenment is, a state of connection, and a state of connection to the energy of creation, to the universe, to source, right? And it doesn't have to be exclusive to a certain group of people only who are in a cave and live in India and wear robes, maybe, but maybe not, right? So I'm more interested in taking the teachings of yoga and making it accessible to everyone. That's what I love teaching, because I believe there's such a richness of the teachings in yoga, that the postures is just a doorway to going into connecting with ourselves on a deeper level. and to really explore into the realms of the unknown within ourselves. So using the postures, using meditation, using breath work, using all of these different practices to go in, right, and to connect with ourselves on a more deeper, intimate level. So as we start to know the truth of who we are and who we are, then our work is then to continue to explore that and to then start to express that and share that, to the outside world. So there you go. It's my summary of what I think is yoga, and what its aim and essence of yoga is. I hope that helps, Bianca. Really great question. Let me know if that wasn't clear enough, or if there's any questions around what I've just said, and I'll be happy to explain. And then Gaetano, you're saying, well, we are Italians, and that's why we feel our warmth. Yes, thank you. You are very warm people. My girlfriend, incidentally, is also, half Italian. She's not tuned in here, but I will get her on here at some point very soon. How do I combine yoga and theta? So to me, this is something that I'm actually exploring, and I'm at some point I will launch, a new, whatever you want to call it, style of yoga or something like that. Which combines what I've learned in my time in learning about theta healing. And theta healing, yes, sure, in this lifetime I've just gone and spent like a short amount of time learning it, and it seemed like a very accelerated journey. But really, a lot of theta healers have been learning theta healing for many lifetimes, and that's why it comes really easily. So it's been an amazing journey learning what's in theta. And then of course yoga, it's more dealing with the physical body, and it's matter rather than waves and particles. So it seemed like it just took a longer time for me to learn that. But it's almost like they reach same or similar kind of places, which is the connection to source itself. So the combination of it and what I'm playing with right now is using a very simple meditation to get your mind to a theta brainwave, right? So alpha, theta, gamma. So getting it to a theta brainwave where the body will believe, it becomes more relaxed. And normally if you're sitting in meditation in theta, the mind might even think, look, the body's actually asleep, so it can go into rest and restore. But through your mind, we're actually going, into that point of singularity and connecting in with source energy. So teaching this kind of a meditation, and then bringing in the postural work, so that as you are moving through the yoga postures, I repeat that, I'm not sure if you just got cut off. So as you're moving through the yoga postures, you are connected to source, right? So while you're breathing and you're moving, what you will learn, and as you go through the levels, and I don't know, I haven't really created the levels yet, but at some point there'll be different levels where ultimately you're practicing yoga and you're giving yourself healings through your connection to source, right? That's the gist of combining yoga and theta, which I haven't actually given it a name yet. I've spoken to Vayana and the crew there, and they're really happy with this. So I'm going to continue to explore that. I believe it's one of the reasons perhaps that I went and explored theta healing and learned to be a teacher as well. So this is what I'm playing with it, and at some point, I will launch that and share that once I've got it in a format that is actually shareable, and that is tested and works. But that's the gist of it. That you're connected to source, and then as you're moving through your body, you're also on that higher plane of existence as well as in this physical plane of existence. So what happens is that as you go into meditation and you observe the mind, your yoga practice becomes like an observation, like you're observing your body and your mind. Your body is kind of going through the motions, with the yoga practice, but you're actually connected to the highest vibration, of source energy of love. So Kaitana, that's my answer to your question of how do you combine yoga and theta. Hopefully that was helpful. I see some tears and some laughter and some angry faces. I don't know what that's about. Hopefully I'm not pissing anyone off on the group, but if I am, just let me know. Hi Sabrina, hi Ada. Bianca, cool. I'm glad you're happy with that. Awesome. Thank you Gaetano. I have no clue what I was going to share with you guys, and I was saying to one of my other groups today, my work is to really just come empty and in the unknown, so that I can actually be a vessel to channel, I guess you could call it channeling, and just speak what comes through in the moment. with the interaction, with you guys as well. So, I like to really customize what I'm speaking about because, there's various topics that I can cover and talk about. So I like to actually just customize it, for the group that I'm speaking. And it's great to see quite a few of you have actually logged in now. It's wonderful to welcome. Hi, Shanti. Um, Welcome to the group. So ask me any more questions because, otherwise I feel like I'm just talking at you and, being that kind of one-way conversation isn't always fun. So help me out here. How is it, tell me what you're taking from what I'm sharing so far. Is it useful? Do you feel like you can apply it in your life? And what is the use of some of the stuff that we're talking about? So, with trusting, with resistance, how does it show up in your life? What are some areas in your life where you feel like, there's resistance, or like there's a part of you that is resisting? And what are some other areas in your life where you've actually been able to really trust? And what's been the result of, putting up resistance, in certain areas of your life? And what's been the result of being able to open and trust in other areas of your life? I'd like to hear your experience. What has it been like? Go ahead and share with me, and let's make this more interactive. So hi Rebecca, you're saying wise words and very inspirational. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here and listening in and tuning in. Appreciate your time, because time is one of those things that is very precious, and I appreciate always when people give their time to be around and stay around and listen, because time is one of those things on this physical plane that we don't get back. Even though on an energetic plane, time doesn't exist, but here in this physical existence, we're kind of doing time in a way. So thank you for taking your time and spending your evening here with me and the amazing folk, Gaetano and the community here on Bridges of Light. So yes, I would love to be back, Gaetano. Hi, good evening. How do I say your name? Guisi? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Help me out if you can. So tell me, is this useful? What are some of the things that you are challenged with in your life? Let's take these teachings, and rather it just be some kind of cerebral, knowledge that you're taking. And knowledge is just, potential power. Knowledge is potential power. It's taking the knowledge and applying it into your life. That's where the real power is. So let's take what you've learned here and apply it into an area of your life. So if someone here wants to share or talk about maybe a challenge that you're having, or maybe something you want to celebrate, like a certain area in your life where you've been able to let go and trust, and what's the result of that being in your life. Go ahead. I would love some participation, because I like to teach in a way that is interactive rather than me just talking at you. So I'm going to be a little quiet for a moment or so, even though I've been talking now straight for almost an hour. Ask me about some questions on the practicalities of this, on how you can apply this. What are some areas in your life where you have resistance, or you feel resistance from others, and where can you exercise more of this letting go, of trusting? How could this be useful for you in your life right now? So Bianca, thank you for all your interaction. So you're saying my challenge is to be more confident in my possibilities. Okay, so confidence. Let's talk a little bit about confidence, and maybe I'll do another talk which is longer on confidence. And thank you for the love hearts and the thumbs ups. Challenge with self-confidence. So confidence, I always say, in the groups that I work with, confidence is a byproduct of you knowing who you are, right? And you asked me before, what is this journey of yoga? Well, the journey of yoga is about getting to know yourself. And whether you do the yoga practice or not, whatever your spiritual practices are, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's other things, perhaps they're all about connecting to yourself, and to getting to know you and who you are. And this question of who am I was a question that I asked quite early on, in my life, just as a kid, even probably like 5 or 6 years old. And I was just like, who am I? What am I doing here? In other words, I was asking, what's my purpose? And it just seems like didn't make sense. A lot of things didn't make sense. So I started to explore that and dedicate my life to searching for some of these answers. And I can tell you, it's a very exciting journey to delve inwards, to go within and really start to get to know who you are, right? And the more I've started to get to know myself, right? And I mean, not just the parts that I like and want to show out to the world, but also the parts of me that, maybe I didn't want to show so much before, but have to, I've gotten to know over time. And as I've gotten to know myself, and all parts of me, I've learned to embrace all parts of me and love all parts of me. And as I've done that, confidence was just a given, right? So as I said before, confidence is a byproduct of knowing yourself. Now, no one taught me this in this configuration. It's just something that came to me. It made sense to me. So, I've been teaching it like that. And certainly that feels true for me. So that's why I share it with you. So hopefully that helps. My challenge is to be self-confident in my possibilities. So confidence, it also ties back to trust. And, trust begins with trusting yourself first. Trusting the universe, trusting source, trusting you, trusting life, and then just going, right? And seeing what happens, right? The reason we don't feel confident, the reason we don't trust is because, again, we're trying to control the results, control the outcome. Now, as it says in the Bhagavad Gita, the yoga text, our authority is within the realms of action, not in the results. So in other words, take all the action, do your part, and then let go of your attachment to the results. Hopefully that's useful, Bianca. Let me know if you have any more questions or any more clarification on that. I'm just going through the comments here. So Rebecca is saying, recently I have lost my way with yoga, and for one reason or another, can yoga just be still with breath to heal yourself naturally and gather thoughts? And now back doing yoga, but struggle to why I lost my practice. Sometimes it can be interesting to understand why and all that sort of stuff. And other times it just sends us chasing our tails, right? So while it could be interesting for your mind to know why, and sometimes we sit in analysis a long time, and we sit in it and we're actually just wasting time. We're doing time, like in prison, right? So rather than doing time, like in prison, how relevant is it for you to know, right? And sorry, not so sorry if it's kind of a little bit, and that's the nature of how I am. Like, I kind of like to just talk straight and challenge things. So I would welcome you to challenge it back as well. If it doesn't sit right with you, don't take anything, I say for truth and gospel. Challenge and question everything, so you know your own truth. But why try to understand why, right? What is it going to do for you, right? If you've already shifted past it, through it, and you can come back to, what you've learned from it, then great, move on, right? So next time it shows up, you've got the lesson, you're not going to jump back in. Why can be entertaining to the mind, but it's a way of the mind actually distracting us from being present with actually doing the work. And doing the work to me is being present, being with what's here and now, like sitting in meditation, like rolling out the mat and doing your postures. You can sit there and try and think of why did I get off my practice, or you can just roll out the mat and do the practice. Right? Sorry if it sounds kind of intense or too direct, but I'm just sharing with you things that I've learned, over the years, because I've wasted my time with kind of stuff like that too. Hopefully that's helpful. Ask me for more clarification if something doesn't make sense. Thanks for everything. Yes, hi Sarah, great to meet you here. Bianca, I am growing slowly. I would like to improve it, but I feel like growing slower than I could do. I have this other saying where I say, the slow way is the fast track. When you go to the airport, there's always like the fast track lane, and then there's the normal way, if you're in economy class or something like that. So the slow way to me is the fast track, is the fast way, especially in this day and age where everything has to be expressed, everything has to be quick, everything has to be instant. right? And we are so used to, and like the new generations, the younger generations are, they don't even know, right? And for them, and some of you probably logged in here, it's just like everything has to be instant. And it's almost like an instant gratification mindset, like an entitlement type mindset where everything has to be instant. Like I sit and meditate once, I should be enlightened. Why am I not enlightened, universe? Right? And it's kind of cute how the mind, the ego just does that. But that's not how life works. And actually, as a matter of fact, there's benefits in taking the slow way. What seems like slow to the mind is actually energetically the fast way, right? So it's teaching you patience. It's teaching you to like pull out all the weeds in the from its roots, from in the garden of your mind, and it's teaching you patience. It's teaching you to set up, clear your garden and set up like a really solid foundation. So from there, as from that foundation, you can build the next level, and you can build the next level and the next level and the next level, so that you can start to stack things up, so that when you get to the top, or when you continue to progress, there is a really solid foundation and you're not just going to fall on your face. Does that make sense? So don't be in any rush, right? Why are you rushing? We've got our whole lifetime for us to actually progress and really enjoy the journey and take our times. And I know, the counter argument to that could be like, well, death is the one thing that we don't know when it's going to happen. But actually, I kind of argue that because on an energetic level, and I know a lot of you here do energy work, death's doors, now this might trigger some people, but I'm just going to say it. And this could be another conversation for another one of these calls. Death isn't something that just happens to us. On an energetic level, on a soul level, we also, when the door opens, we get to choose to say yes or no. Are you ready or not? Or do you want to go back into the body? And it can actually go and continue to stay there if you wanted to. So, and a lot of people do that. They've gone and then they've come back into their body and derive. That's what happens energetically. So, even that is kind of not an argument anymore. So I hope that helps with the slower way. Enjoy the slow way, because that's the fast track. More we are sensitive, more tend to be afraid to show us. More we are sensitive, more we tend to be afraid to show. Yes. So the more afraid we are, the more we are kind of afraid of showing ourselves. And yeah, that whole sensitivity thing it's the same thing as like, oh, I'm too sensitive, so I'm going to put up a wall and be resistant, right? So we talked about resistance and trust before. If you've just tuned in, then jump in and listen to it later on. Marina is saying, sometimes I feel I resist the thought of being happy, as it is something that can hardly happen to me. I will learn how to trust that good things will happen to me too. And the moment you start to even slightly trust that you can be happy, you will start to experience happiness. It's as simple as that. The universe doesn't judge you. Sometimes people will say, oh my God, why is life doing this to me? Why is this happening to me? Why is God doing this? Why is the universe doing this? It's like God's not doing anything to you. There is a thing called free will, right? If you're a healer, you'll know on this explain there's free will. And on a soul level, we are choosing all our experiences. Now, I know that's not maybe an acceptable thing to say, but I know a lot of you here are energy workers and healers, so I can just kind of talk on that level. And if it triggers you, then good, let's talk more and let's, work on that, or go and work on that and heal it. But we can choose. Happiness is a choice. Just like sadness is a choice, all of this, what we feel is a choice. Is just that most of us don't know that we can choose it, right? Because who's actually creating your life? Yes, there's a creator. Yes, there's a universe. But actually, ultimately, when you can start to take responsibility on this level, that on a higher level, on an energetic level, you're creating completely, entirely, right? I'm creating entirely my experience in each moment. So any moment I'm falling into any kind of emotions that I don't want to, I know I can actually choose differently. Now, sometimes people will say, oh, but that's faking it. And why would I fake happiness? Well, why would you fake sadness? Why not just fake happiness for a little while until you start to believe it and you just get happy, right? That could be useful. I hope that helps, Marina. Great question. Thank you for that. Gaetano, great. Are you saying Sarah Verdiri is the Theta Healer Master, very well known in Italy? Oh, great. Nice to meet you, Sarah. Hope I get to connect with you at some point here or in person. She's watching. Awesome. Hi, Sarah. How do you relate presence to chance beliefs with theta? I don't understand. Can you explain more? What do you mean by chance beliefs? How do you relate presence to chance beliefs with theta? I need a, can you say it in a different way? I think it's something to do with like the language and the translation. Or Gaetano, maybe you can help out translate for us. I'd love to answer your question, Sarah, and great to have you here. I just need some clarification. What do you mean by that question? Ask me in a different way and I'll answer it. Bianca, wow, love it. The slow waves of fast track. Yes, glad you like that. Hi, Oriana. Rebecca, great answer. I think that's what I wanted to hear. My problem is faith, confidence within myself, but this is helping. Great, you're welcome. Dylan, I'm 52. At 90, I will be really self-confident. Or Bianca, feel free to take all the time you need to be confident, because, or you can just be confident now, right? It's, as I said before, it's a choice that we make. And I know it's not like a politically correct or nice way to say things, but, I kind of just shoot straight and I just say things as it is. You can have whatever experience you want. So you can have between 52 to 90, whatever that is going to be like until you decide you're self-confident. Or you can say now, right? I choose to trust myself, to love myself, to accept myself. And as you do that, instantly in this moment, the universe gives you that, because you have free will. You can choose whatever experience you want. The moment you choose it, you get it. I hope that helps. There's about 22 comments more. Let's see what else I've missed. Oof. All right. Thank you, Gaetano. Hey, Veronica. Good to have you here. Sarah, nice to meet you. We have 5 minutes left after I'm on. So there's 3 minutes. Change. Possibly she meant change. Change, not chance. That's right. I feel like fake happiness, but trusting sadness. Just faking. I'll try that. Okay, change. Let me go back to your question. Sarah, so how do you relate presence to change beliefs with theta? Well, presence has everything to do with changing beliefs in a way, because presence, when you're present, you're connected to source or the creator, Sarah, as you may know these terms, and changing the beliefs. There's a funny thing that I see a lot of theta healers do, and again, this might piss some people off, but I'm just going to say what I'm going to say. It's a funny thing. We kind of create a lot of drama about a lot of things, and it's like, oh, how do I do this? It's like, you probably know as a master theta healer that the ultimate healer and the healer in any healing session is not us, the human mind, or us. It's the creator. It's source. It's the universe. So you don't even have to do anything but to surrender that to the creator and actually ask and trust what you're receiving and go with that. And our work, certainly I speak for myself, is to get my stuff out of the way, to get me out of the way, so that I'm actually receiving with clarity and just following that. I mean, why would we even question the greatest force in the universe, the entire universe itself, right? It's kind of curious how our little minds are really cute, and it thinks, maybe I can control this. So presence has everything to do with changing beliefs, because presence, and part of presence is letting go and trusting. And then with trusting, you're trusting what you're receiving from the creator. And whether you're digging on your own, or you're digging with a client, or someone's actually digging beliefs with you, it's about trust. It's about being present with the person, being present with yourself, being present with source, the creator, and then allowing that to guide you. So that's just my take on it. Tell me if it fits or not. Okay, Bianca. Hi, Fran. I should start at 9:05, 8:05, so I have to finish by then. Please. Okay, so I need to get out of here. Gaetano's kicking me out. Thank you very much. We are watching from Kuri. Hi, guys. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm on the dot at 8 o'clock. I didn't think I could actually speak, for an hour, but I'm really glad this little box popped up. and we get to connect. And thank you, Gaetano, for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope the topics that we've talked about here has been useful to you guys. Please do share with anyone, and go and invite people in your life to bring them into this group, because there is so many amazing things happening in this group that I can't even keep up. I see so many amazing talks happening here in this group. And Gaetano, thank you for making this all possible. And thank you. I'll see you guys. I believe I'm here next week again at the same time. So I will see you. Lots of love, big hugs, lots of love, and see you in the next one. Bye for now.